requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and Section
All right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Good morning. Yes, we're still in the morning hour. Good morning, everyone. We're gonna call this meeting to order. Before we get started, we are gonna hear our preamble and the rules for the meeting.
in compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and Section 101.021 of the Codified Ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conduct their meetings in a manner modeled after Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Recusals from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that online participants use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter submitted through proper channels have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Proper channels for comments are listed below. Communication with members of this body must follow proper channels for consideration. Any comments received by the Wednesday 12 p.m. deadline are collected by city planning staff and disseminated to the commission members prior to any scheduled meeting. Proper channels for public comment. Sending an email to the cityplanning@clevelandohio.gov address with a comment or a letter. Calling and/or leaving a message at 216-664-2210. Sending a letter or dropping off comments at City Hall, 601, Lakeside Avenue, Suite 501, Cleveland, Ohio, 44114. Meeting rules and procedures. The chair will call each agenda item and then each applicant will be invited to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the commission in order to facilitate a smooth presentation. Once the presentation has concluded, the chair will ask planning staff to summarize Design Review Advisory Committee recommendations, if applicable, and any public comments received. Public comments received through the proper channels by the deadline are distributed to commission members prior to the meeting. Staff will also identify any members of the public present and scheduled to speak. Public comment is allowed at the discretion of the chair, and any individual providing public comment is permitted 2 minutes to speak to the agenda item in which they have an interest. The chair will then request a recommendation from staff, if applicable. The commission will then begin deliberations and project review. Any commission member, except the chair, may make a motion at any point after an agenda item has been called.
Thank you, Evelyn. Can you please call the roll?
Oh, goodness. Okay, Anthony.
Present.
Fluker.
Present.
McCray Scott. Present. Sergeant.
Present.
Slife.
Present.
And Whitfield.
Present. May I have a point of information? Whose genius idea was it to have Microsoft Word read it at 1.5 times speed?
Our lovely administrator.
Well done. Well done. So.
Thank you. First order of business today will be to approve the minutes from our January 23rd meeting. May I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Evelyn, roll call, please.
Sorry, can we actually state a motion?
Yes, that's why I stopped. I motion for adoption of the minutes.
And I second.
Okay. Anthony.
Yes.
Fluker.
Yes.
McCray Scott.
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Slife.
Yes.
And Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you. Great. So our first item for today's meeting is the adoption of amendments to the rules of City Planning Commission. Director, did you want to say anything regarding this?
Yes. Good morning, commission members. I'm sorry, Councilman, if I speak a little bit slower than the AI. Please bear with me. As you all know, these rules of the Planning Commission are our administrative policies that guide our governance and our practices, in addition to and supplementing the charter and the codified ordinances that guide our work. Many of you have participated in shaping these over more than the last year, so thank you for that time, and thank you also for the review of the drafts as we have brought them here to adoption. I know in a previous meeting we went over many of the changes in details. Just to highlight a few of them, in many cases this update modernizes and brings our rules up to our current practices, including specifying alternates, incorporating guidance around hybrid virtual meeting access, notice to commissioners through email rather than hand-delivered hard copy, etc. We have also included a new attendance policy, updated the standing committees for Planning Commission, including the introduction of a form-based code technical review committee and a long-range citywide plan committee, and have added some supplemental information that I especially want to call your attention to that will assist us with sort of the business of the commission. Evelyn has included a couple of new resources in the binders that you have in front of you, including a guide about when to recuse versus when to abstain and the impacts on voting and quorum, as well as some guidance around postponing versus tabling cases and sort of the pathway to follow for postponement in collaboration with the applicant. So in addition to thanking all of you for your input here, I also want to acknowledge our partners in the law department that reviewed and provided feedback, especially around some of this governance material for us. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Director. Fellow commission members, any questions or comments before we ask for a motion?
Madam Chair, having
participated in the process. I move to accept the amendments to the rules of the City Planning Commission as presented and to be adopted moving forward. I do ask this one caveat is I believe we may have identified when we revisit them so that they don't sit around for several decades. So I believe that's in the body. Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
Have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Ray Scott.
Yes.
Sargent,
Yes.
Blythe,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Evelyn. For those that are present and online, please know we're gonna have one slight shift in our agenda. We're gonna go to one of our mandatory referrals. I'll give Evelyn a moment to bring that one up. For commission members, this is on page, they're not numbered, but it's the first mandatory referral.
I said in Indian English, this would be a pre-phone.
Okay.
Postpone and prepone. Something like that.
You know, Councilman, you always have the most interesting fun facts. This is ordinance number 96-2026, designating the Wellman-Saver-Morgan building as a Cleveland landmark. And if you can just state your name for the record, please, and make sure your mics are green so they're on.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to present today. My name is Wendy Naylor. I'm a historic consultant with Naylor Wellman.
Hi there, my name is Sarah Jacks, and I'm a project manager with the Site Readiness for Good Jobs Fund, the site owner.
Thank you.
So we'll begin today, and thank you again for moving us forward on the agenda. That's very much appreciated. My partner had a stomach bug this morning, so we've had some rearranging today. The presentation that we're putting forth today was the full presentation that Landmark saw. Out of respect for your time and long agenda today, I'll move through it efficiently. But if you have any specific questions about the history or any of that, please feel free to ask me and I'll try to expand upon it.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. I am a member of the Site Readiness Fund Board as a member of City Council. I don't know if you would like for me to recuse and leave the room, or I don't think that there's necessarily a conflict of interest as I represent in my capacity as a council member on the board, and I represent on this board as my capacity as a council member, but I want to state it for the record and seek your advice.
Thank you. I don't see a reason, looking at the director, if there's a reason you think for the councilman to recuse. Okay. Thank you, though, for stating that. Please.
Okay, wonderful. Wellman-Saver-Morgan Company is located at 7000 Central, which is at 71st Street. The foundry was constructed from 1901 to 1917. It's a foundry-style complex, irregular shape. It has 8 steel frame buildings with large windows along the perimeter, clear story and monitors, and it's 3 stories in height. It was designed and constructed by the Wellman-Saver-Morgan Company, and it has at least 20 cranes that still remain in the building and 2 railroad spurs that attach to the building. The significance of the property is related to engineering and industry. It's made an invaluable contribution to the progress of making steel really throughout the nation and the world, and was headquartered in Cleveland, Ohio. As Clevelanders, they're probably best known for the Hewlett unloaders, but the company's inventions also included unloading equipment, car dumping machinery, handling millions of tons of coal or other heavy bulk materials, which was speeding transportation at the Great Lakes, where all the steel and the ore and that industry was focused. So the work of this company is amazingly prolific. They were contractors designing and consulting, constructing, manufacturing steel plants, cranes, bridges for both land and sea operations, transportation, ore, and coal. We are at the same time working on the National Register nomination, and this is one of the rare nominations where we really didn't know where to stop. They had done so many things. This is interesting, Evelyn, if you can back up to the slide before. Just to give you to the slide to the left, the architect scaled in a dinosaur so that you could see the size of this building. It's massive. It's 87 feet tall at the apex. And I think you could see by some of the images in the photographs shown, it is just, it's the enormity of it almost can't be conveyed in photographs, but we're very lucky to still have remnants of this building in Cleveland and that there's interest in rehabilitating this project. So you can go ahead. Thanks, Evelyn. These are just some facts about Wellman-Saver. They were founded with offices in the New England building, which we now know more as the Marble Room. That's where their main offices were. They held, they were formed in 1896 with partners Samuel T. Wellman, brother Charles Wellman, and John Seaver. And that's why Diana Wellman, my partner, was very disappointed not to be here today because her husband is a descendant of Samuel T. Wellman. So as Cleveland, as Sarah and I were just talking, it's a small world in Cleveland. This is just some details about the company. To the left they had an incredible number of patents on machinery. Just to give you the scale of the amount of patents, we've included some of the highlights of the statement of significance related to the building. I'll just continue if you want to continue beyond that. Just a list of all the inventions they held, all the patents they held. To the left is the Caxton building. They designed and engineered that building. Many of us are familiar with that. These are some of the unloading machines that they designed. Again, you can see the massive space, the cranes. The unloaders, of course, to the left, the Hewlett unloaders that we're all familiar with were designed by Wellman-Saver, and other interesting unloader devices that they designed. And really the enormity of this plant is what they required as workspace to get this accomplished, to work on these things they were inventing. This is a wonderful shot. They received awards for their World War II efforts. This is a great shot within the plant that still remains today. This shot is in front of the Warner and Swayze building on Carnegie. Many of the very acclaimed engineers in the city are in this picture, including Samuel T. Wellman, and of course, Warner and Swayze is another project that's experiencing rehabilitation. Samuel T. Wellman on the left, his family. He lived till 1919. Unfortunately, he was killed in a train accident, Lakeshore Railway, going to his estate out in Lake County. Another company that he operated was Wellman Bronze and Aluminum Company, which was at Woodland and 93rd Street. They made parts for the Peerless Auto Company. That's just a historic image of the plant. And finally, he was a world traveler. The Wellmans have this in their private collection. There they are on riding camels in Egypt with the Ambrose Swayze, Samuel T. and his wife in 1900 in Egypt. And he had a house on Euclid Avenue and also the country estate in Lake County. Both of those no longer remain. So this building becomes important because it really is the last building that remains that's represented in this era of history. So I appreciate your consideration today. I moved quickly through an enormity of material, but this is very helpful to get this designation. It allows a rehabilitation project to immediately apply for Ohio historic tax credits, which require that you either be a CLG designated landmark or a national register listing at the time of application. So our choice for this project was to do a landmark designation to allow them to apply for the March historic tax credits. So I appreciate your time. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
First of all, and more seriously, I'm still trying to wrap my head around a scaled dinosaur as a figure. I'm an architect. I never tried that one, so I have to let that sort of ruminate.
Presentation. That's great.
Two questions. The first is, what is it really in good condition, or what's its disposition?
It's in a pretty fair condition based on the type of industrial buildings that we see. You can see on the outside, areas have corrugated metal boarded up, but that's usually for protection. The windows need to be replaced, but that's not unusual for an industrial building of this age. So that would be part of the rehabilitation. We find that to put windows back before active development is going on, they're often vandalized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the second, and maybe you mentioned this, who's applying for tax credits, and what is the plan to adaptively reuse to what sort of uses?
Yeah, so we can't, and I apologize, my voice is a little weak because I'm coming off of a cold. But we're not able to share publicly yet at this point who the end user will be, but the end user will be applying for these historic tax credits in collaboration with the Site Readiness for Good Jobs Fund, who is currently the owner of the site. But it will be a new manufacturing use, job dense use in alignment with city objectives.
Okay, well, I'm not an attorney, but there's a lot of public money put in the pot, so I don't know why it has to be secret, but that's okay. Thank you.
Commission members, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve mandatory ordinance number 96, 2026, designating the Wellman-Saver-Morgan Company building as a Cleveland landmark.
and I second.
A motion is second. Roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Luker,
Yes.
Gray Scott,
Yes.
Sargent,
Yes.
Light,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carried. Congratulations.
Thank you so
Wishing all
much.
the best. Of course. All right, we're going to move back to the beginning of the agenda. I do just want to make a general comment that we have a pretty robust agenda today. And so just ask in advance that folks can be just brief, comprehensive, but just being cognizant that we do have a lot to get through today. So please, in advance, if I'm ushering you along, do not take offense to that. Our second item, is a conditional use pedestrian relay overlay, the Vessel Coffee Collab that is located at 5017 Detroit Avenue. Xavier, turn it over to you.
Good morning. Excuse me. There we go. My name is Xavier Bay. I'm a zoning planner with City Planning. Today you're seeing this conditional use request for establishment of a cafe at 5019 Detroit Avenue. On the screen here, you can see the zoning for the property, local retail with the pedestrian retail overlay across Detroit. Thank you, Evelyn. And so here you can see some of the context photos. There's some auto sales nearby, some other just kind of legacy retail, general retail uses nearby, and mixed use kind of corridor is basically the context of Detroit. So first you see here, the first conditional use required the driveway over the sidewalk. It's an existing condition here, but mainly it's the only access for the property owner. There's no other access in the rear or other sides of the property. And so you're basically determining your approvals here on the layout. Is there any other suitable position for the driveway, things of that nature? Next slide, please. The other conditional use required here is the interior side yard greater than 4 feet. Another existing condition of the property, and basically your criteria for approval of the interior side yard is that there's residential uses and the second story is being used for residence. That's basically it here. We're just seeing this to approve the pedestrian retail overlay conditional uses because there's no record of it. So that's all I have. And then we have the applicants here as well for Vessel Coffee to elaborate any further if needed.
Thank you, Xavier. Online or present? Sorry.
Online. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, here they go.
Okay, thank you. No problem. Can you just state your name for the record, please?
Hi, my name's Corey Haiti. I'm one of the co-owners of Vessel Coffee.
Thank you. Any additional context you would like to offer?
No, Xavier did a great job of covering what we're looking for, and if anyone has any other questions, I'm happy to field any of them.
Thank you, sir. Commission members, questions or comments?
May I ask a procedural question? Is there any universe where the planning director would be able to sign off administratively on a conditional use, or is the very nature that it's a conditional use require a full vote of the board?
We do have Shannon Leonard online, but firstly, if there was a record of this approval on file, then they wouldn't need to come before you. But since there is no record, that's one of the primary reasons we're seeing this, and they're establishing a new use of the property. But Shannon, I believe you are online if you want to clarify anything that I didn't.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commission, and Councilman Slife. The answer to that question is a conditional use in and of itself is a special use permit that explicitly requires city planning commissions in the city and across the state to have approval through your body. It doesn't rise to the level of variance. It's strictly based on the site plan and the site components that requires just the extra review by their body. But if there was an amendment that you wanted to make to the zoning code, that definitely can be discussed if we believe that, maybe these types of conditional uses are no longer needed.
Okay. I will say there was, if so context, there's an Arby's in Cam's Corners and there's 3 curb cuts. And when that property was establishing the use as the Arby's, it was similarly brought through, and there being 3 curb cuts, I think it was worthwhile to have a discussion of are 3 still necessary. But I feel that we end up in a lot of instances with these cases where it's a singular curb cut, and I think we would be denying a property right if we were to vote this down, quite frankly, and they would be denied access to their off-street parking. So I think it'd be worthwhile exploring if we would want to maybe automate this type of scenario where it's a singular curb cut in a PRO versus trying to establish a new curb cut or trying to weigh whether multiple curb cuts are still appropriate.
Councilman Slife, I would like to piggyback on that. In as much as I would like to add that if it's an existing curb cut and an existing structure, then, I would like to classify it as a case that you just suggested.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So in light of it being an existing condition and a singular curb cut, I move approval of the conditional use at 5017 Detroit.
Can you just state the specific?
Or the driveway across the public sidewalk and the interior side yard of 4 feet, which accommodates the driveway to aforementioned.
Thank you, Councilman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Gray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slife,
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Xavier.
Thank you.
Welcome. Our next item on the agenda is a lot split consolidation located at 4310 Bailey Avenue. We have the project representative, Steve.
Yes.
Yes. You can just say your full name for the record, please.
Steve Mazzoni with Godbody Properties.
Thank you.
Hit the button? Yeah.
Oh, there we
you go.
Thank you. Evelyn has the slides up, so she'll advance through for you.
Yeah, so basically, we're just looking to take one lot and split it in half in order to build 2 smaller type homes, one from the back and one from the front of Bailey, one from Peach Court.
Madam Chair, to the applicant, it's hard for me to see. I don't know why. Is it, you're splitting it in half?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
125-foot deep lot, so just
there it is.
directly
Okay.
in half.
And for commission members, I would just direct your attention to the note in the agenda around the approvals, the variances, and then subsequent approvals from BZA.
I'm sorry. Oh, you have a different sheet of paper over there.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. What's that? Okay, I was wondering where that was coming from.
All right,
My apologies.
I will read it, just as far as this will require multiple variances, for BCA for infill housing and would recommend, some reduction in those variances to help with the alternative garage design.
Okay. All right. All right, Madam Chair, I move to approve a lot split at 4310 Bailey Avenue as presented, with the understanding that the applicant will secure an access easement along the side of the property, and also they will then have to go and secure zoning variances for the size of the lot that's less than 4,800 square feet. And I guess there's other multiple variances that need to be solved.
Yeah, yep. More.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Luker,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Live,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I'm having problems seeing that screen today. I don't know why. I'm fine.
All right, we're gonna move into some design review cases. First up is the Near West Design Review District, Northwest 2025-021, 30 West Apartments located at West 30th and Seymour. Looks like I have a few folks here. I'm gonna swear you all in and just ask that you state your name for the record and if you can turn your mics on. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for this matter, hearing under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
And if you can just all three state your name for the record before we start.
Brandon Young.
Fred Wolf.
Alex Quinones?
You all have to share. There you
That's
go.
fine.
Thank you so much. Please proceed.
Good morning. We've been working with Alex and his team to develop a proposal for this kind of three street intersection, Seymour, Aaron, and West 30th Street. It's 1 block away from West 20th. It's currently a couple different lots. We're going to go through a consolidation process to get the shape that's shown on the screen right here. We can keep moving forward. A couple of context pictures of what it currently looks like. So, you can see it from all corners. And a couple of context images of some of the surrounding lots. What we're putting together is I think we're presenting an efficient way of getting 21 units onto the site that we're putting together. We're addressing kind of the West 30th Street, which I believe is one of the proposals from the city is to start making this a little bit more of a walkable neighborhood. So we're positioning this in a way that it's facing that and running down the Aaron and Seymour. We're just developing some landscaping to make it a bit more presentable. We're also developing a courtyard. We can actually go back to that site plan real quick. Yeah, we're developing a connection from this West 30th Street through the middle of the building for a couple of reasons. Some of them are required for us to meet our fire flow that we need to get off of West 30th, as well as developing kind of that connection from the walkable neighborhood that's being developed and kind of into this more private space. We can keep moving through. Yeah. Like I was saying, floor plans are relatively efficient. We're trying to get 21 units, 7 per floor, 3 floors, clad in a more contemporary take on kind of a standard rectilinear form. Bring some wood clad elements, bring some horizontality using like trim work and pushing kind of a central corridor to make the connection to the back of the lot, to the front of the lot. I think one thing that we've been working with the design review committee on, and it's really, I think maybe their only concern that's been brought to us is The parking will be on-street parking. We're working with the city and we're going to be working with the civil engineer to push into the tree lawn to develop some parking that is out of the right of way, or not out of the right of way, but out of the road. Currently, as it stands, parking is on the street. And I guess we are part of a transit-oriented development that alleviates us from our parking requirement. We're still trying to meet the city halfway on that.
Thank you. I know this is just for schematic, but if you can, if you have responses to some of the things noted by the planning staff around the bike enclosure and the fencing height, if you all have any, at least initial thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think so. Originally, I think it was brought to our attention about the parking or the bike parking was covered. I did see that there was a comment that now they want it enclosed. I think we're willing to meet them on that. There was another comment?
It's right here. So bike enclosure, fencing height, and then the lighting.
Oh, yeah. The fencing height, I think it was as it approaches either Seymour or Aaron, it would taper down to a 4-foot height to allow, sight lines from those driveways. That's something we would accommodate. And lighting, when we get to our final submission, we'll put together a lighting package, but lighting is definitely kind of a priority since we're working kind of in a little bit of a wooded area. I guess there's some trees back there and we're proposing new trees, but lighting would definitely be something that we're putting a priority on.
Thank you.
We do have Brittany from Planning Online. I don't know if she has any additional staff reports.
Oh, she just showed up.
Ta-da!
I'd like to know how to get it.
Thank you.
I've had the pleasure to work on this project among many others for about 5 years before I worked at the city. So this is a very cool project for me to finally see it come to fruition. Although there was no quorum, the conversations that we've had in the past have been in high support for this project, which is really exciting. This is something new. I think the reoccurring mention is that this is a pioneer project in this area, just because there's a lot of missing teeth in this neighborhood. So we've got to do it right. So I'm very excited for something like this to happen in the middle of Clark Fulton neighborhood alongside Central Villa and other things that are happening in this kind of like exciting and robust community right now. And we're in support.
Thank you, Brittany. Commission members, any comments, questions?
I have a couple. One is the question to staff or director concerning the procedural responsibility, noting that there is no quorum. So there is no approval then. So how does that process through the system?
So the design review committees are advisory to the planning commission. It's not necessary for them to have a formal motion, but they did present to the design review committee. Planning commission can take action as you wish based on the conversation and recommendations.
I just wanted to let the record reflect that.
Thank you.
Because I sure that was the case. This is just an observation. I may get a little pushback from Mr. Sargent. And again, I think it's a nice, simple, it's a nicely designed building. I think my fear is just like trends and fads go, grays and blacks are like been in, and we have a lot of buildings going up, and I love colors. So, however, it's just commentary. I'm not asking you to change. It's just not an indictment on your project. It's just what I'm seeing in the architecture world, and actually interior design too.
Other comments or questions for the applicants? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve Near West Design Review District item 2025-21, 30 West Apartments as presented, with the caveat that the applicant pursue rectifying locations of dumpsters, bike enclosures, fencing height, and lighting in their final submission.
A second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Andy?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you all. Pardon? I think we're good. Motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you back here. All right, still in the Northwest Design Review District, NE 2026-001. This is for demolition located at 10702 and 1070812 Superior Avenue. And then do we have Kaylin present here? Okay. Kaylin, I'm just gonna.
Nice to meet you in person.
Kaylin, please make sure you're unmuted. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth for this matter and hearing under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you so much. We have your slides coming up here.
Right. So this morning, we're looking at the proposed demolition of two abandoned structures located on 10702, 10708/12 Superior Avenue. This is right by Superior and East 105th in a pretty busy corridor. These structures have been abandoned for quite some time. We've been looking at them and trying to deal with them for a while. So we had the opportunity and we're looking to move forward with that demolition. This is a little more site context. If you're not familiar with that area, you can see East 105th, Superior, and then a little bit further east is our buildings sitting up by the street over there at 10702 and 10708. So this is just some of the existing conditions. Obviously, you can see it's pretty much an eyesore, open to the public, public nuisance. We've done our best to secure it, but we all know how that goes. So at this point, we're looking to take them down. Yeah, and as we do with most of our sites, we'll be looking to provide a finished grade, topsoil, seed straw. Get a nice lawn going, maintain all the city sidewalks. We're not going to be, using any of I think there's an abandoned or non-used city street behind that we won't be, infringing upon or anything. So it's a pretty straightforward demolition.
Commission members, comments or questions?
I will move approval of the demolition at 10702 through 12 Superior Avenue based on the severity of the structure's condition.
I'll second the motion.
Multiple seconds. Evelyn, please call the roll.
Anthony.
Yes.
Fluker.
Yes.
McCray Scott.
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Blythe.
Yes.
And Whitfield.
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, we are now moving over to Far West Design Review. First up is FW 2026-02, Battery Park Apartments. Do we have Adam online?
They are online.
They're online, okay. For those that are online that are part of the applicant pool, if you can, I'm going to swear you in and then state your name for the record, please. Do you all solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth for this matter and hearing under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
And if you can please state your names for the record.
Adam Comer with J-Rock Development.
Adam, is Bill also present? Do you see Bill on there as well? Okay, I just wanted to make sure if there was anyone else.
Evident Architecture Office.
Okay, your volume is a little bit low, so if you are going to be presenting, just want to give you a heads up about that.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, now we can.
All right.
All right, awesome.
So just to give you a quick introduction, and then I'll let Bill talk in more detail about this project. But J-Rock has been kind of investing and continue investing in the Battery Park neighborhood in Detroit Shoreway for some time. We have the existing Shoreway loft building, which is 45 apartments that we use historic tax credits to complete back in 2014, and that building's been virtually 100% occupied since its inception. We're currently under construction with the $90 million Shoreway Tower project on 78th Street. And so say all that just to say that it's a neighborhood and a community along the lakefront that we know very well and really believe in. And with this project, we're looking to improve one of the kind of the last remaining infill sites in the neighborhood, and really focus on offering a design forward option that will provide some housing variety along the lakefront. And it's a little bit of a different type of project for us, where it's focused on kind of a walk-up unit typology. So with that, I'll let Bill kind of talk through the details of the project.
Okay. Can you all hear me okay?
It's a little muffled, but we can hear
Muffled? Okay.
you. Oh, that's a bit better. Thank you.
Okay, I'll speak up too. Good morning. As Adam said, I'll just kind of walk through this quickly. I know you guys have a full agenda. The site, as he spoke about, is in the Battery Park neighborhood, circled there, obviously adjacent to the Shoreway and Edgewater, and adjacent to a development that I think was done 4 years ago, big multifamily development that was done about 4 years ago. If you can go to the next slide, please. The site is a 50,000 square foot, currently empty level site between West 73rd, Battery Park Boulevard, and West 70th Street. It's kind of a little dog leg up there. Next slide, please. Now we're going to turn 90 degrees to look at the site. So north is up. And this is a quick diagram that we kind of looked at the site with some of the planning constraints. Obviously, in the design overlay, we need to elevate those ground floor residential units around the perimeter. And we're not looking to exceed the density or the height. We're a 3-story, and we're looking at, as Adam said, more of a walk-up typology. Next slide, please. So the goal of the project, as Adam spoke to, is to blend the economy of a walk-up type, but include some of the amenities and community of some of the larger multifamily projects that we've worked on, and has kind of become a signature of JROC's projects. Again, why don't we the next slide, and we can just look at the strategy. So our site strategy was to group these clusters of units, buildings around a central parking court. And then the kind of approach of the project is to look at some of the requirements of the project, such as the parking, et cetera, and to elevate those and make those more emblematic of the project. You know, it's kind of flipping the paradigm where you're entering through the parking, which is typical of so many of these units. So how do we elevate that space and make it more of a community space that supports the project versus something that we have to spruce up as best we can? Next slide, please. So the project is 80, let me get the numbers right, 82 units, and we actually have 72 on-site parking spaces, both 2 separate entries. Both are accessed off Battery Park Boulevard, which is our request from planning. The project has actually, you can kind of keep looping through these just through the plans. We've reviewed the project already with Cleveland Fire. Obviously, we're creating a little bit of enclosure for that central, if you could pause here for a second, for that central parking space. So we obviously wanted to work with Cleveland Fire to make sure that all of their requirements are satisfied for access and safety. The massing approach of the project, again, looking at, I think there's a typology where these projects are aggregated more as like a single family house typology. This really isn't that. So we kind of went the other way and looking at the site as a community, as a denser community, and then looking at how we begin to make that habitable. How do we elevate that? So the project is looking at a more of a continuity of a roof form, then looking at how do we begin to grain this project so it's more consistent with maybe the properties directly to the east, the size of the properties directly to the east. And that would be for light and air and for access. The next one is obviously cutting out that central court for parking, but also how do we begin to elevate that as a community space? And then the last kind of the final massing is how do we begin to use those cladding, the cladding of the building, the materials, the textures of the building to begin to reinforce this idea that this is a larger community of structures, but is focused on this kind of community of residents. Next slide, please. So here's some images of both the parking court and then this idea of how do we begin to change the nature of that parking so that it becomes more of a structured space. We're looking at these kind of two bridging structures, both at the very north end and the kind of containment towards the southern end. And then these walkways that are screened, but also have these community porches that begin to engage with that central space. Next slide, please. Again, those kind of slices through the project that begin to allow green space, both entries and green space that are clad in wood as those touch points of the project, and begin to sort of ventilate the project for the individual units, but also begin to ventilate the project for the neighborhood itself and the streetscape. Next slide, please. Just a simple roof plan. Next slide. The facade down at the north end of the project, again, you know, one of the programmatic requirements of the project is to create again an enforceable perimeter for the project. So it's blending that idea of like how do we begin to create both a permeability with green space, but also create a containment for the project and security for the residents. Next slide, please. So again, it's sort of perforating that street wall. And I know, like in the neighborhood design review, some questions were kind of brought up about the continuity of surface, like how we're beginning to use the same coloration on that perimeter wall. But again, it's to begin to tie this project together. We want to blend this idea that the massing may be more broken down into individual structures, but we want to create this idea of continuity. And I know we're basically handing you guys the same dark exterior and wood siding. We're kind of looking at all of that, but I'm gonna appreciate the comments when they come. Next slide, please. And here's an image of the parking court itself, and we are looking at how do we stretch these green spaces through with sort of a potentially grasscrete, which could become integral to the site stormwater management, but also beginning to blend exposed aggregate concrete with potential other paving to break down that surface. And the idea being that potentially there's times when the cars are pulled out and there's more community activities in that central court. Next slide. And then this is again how we use those bridges to create these collection spaces. We found that a way to begin to bind that community is to create these spaces along circulation routes to elevate the kind of the typical circulation routes of the project, to begin to create these nodes within the residential community. Next slide. And then just an overview from the south of those two bridging elements that begin to form these courts, and some views of the north end of the project. That might be it, but let's see if there's one more. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. I'm going to hear from staff, and then we'll open up for comments from the commission.
Hey, good morning. Nate Law, city planner for the Far West region. This did go to design review for schematic approval on January 21st. They suggested the wood material being a warmer, or just using a warmer color palette overall, but specifically related to some of the wood siding. Looking at ways to make the green space less insular was also talked about. There is like storage, interior bike storage on the property proposed, so they suggested having that more integrated with the main building rather than the sort of the second building that's on the corner of Battery Park Boulevard. And then a request both from staff and design review to see more detailed elevations at final approval. Because this project is in an urban form overlay, and so there's specific requirements around first story glazing for the elevations. Specifically, they'll need about 45%. And then just in terms of staff, other recommendations, I think we need more information about how the internal parking layout is going to function. It looks really tight for vehicle turning. You know, if you pulled in there and all the spaces were taken, how would you get out, basically? As well as things like dumpster access, snow clearance, fire access, all that stuff. We would suggest that they sit down with us and look at. I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Nate. Greatly appreciated. Commission members, comments, questions for the applicant?
After you.
Oh, sure.
Go ahead. I got to tell you, this UFO, I was really bothered by, because I had no idea what that acronym was for, mixed company. So we go from unidentified flying objects to dinosaurs in one session. So exactly. But anyway, seriously, actually, I'm glad to see. This is probably one of the last lots, right? At Battery Park. If you think about, there was a PUD created years ago, over 20.
PUD.
Oh, play with the phone. Sorry. And you could just sort of see over the years, different architects, different styles, and it's culminated in this last site. So that's a good thing. One of the two of my colleagues, or three or four, might have some questions about parking, so I won't take up the air about that. I do commend you, however, on dealing with the car court. I mean, a lot of times, we've seen in previous years, before we polished up our townhouse code, the proliferation of the car courts, and all you saw were cars as you traversed around the site. So I have to commend you about that. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. With the, could you rehash for me, with this being in the new form-based area, what, if any, anticipated variances a project like this would need?
I can try to speak to that. It's not in our form-based code area. It is in our regular zoning code. It's a multifamily district.
Thank you.
And it's an urban form overlay.
Yeah, sorry.
Which speaks to a lot of the form-based code elements. So they'll need to meet the glazing between 3 and 8 feet on the first floor. They'll need active uses on 60% of the ground frontage. And also they'll need some street screening along Battery Park with a masonry wall of at least 3.5 feet. Those are just the couple that I picked out. Okay. That they'll need to meet. But there is a whole section related to urban form overlay.
Okay, but so then separate from urban form overlay, is it clear if there's any anticipated variances?
Not for the use itself.
Okay. I want to be transparent that I'm asking because a nearby project previously that was met with some opposition by residents also did not need variances. And I want to be clear that my perspective is that we can't use design review to hold up projects that are allowable within the zoning code. That's an overextension of what design review is. So
Appreciate that. Thank you, Councilman. Others, comments?
I would say I agree with city planning staff with the concerns over the internal parking. I think it'd be great for the applicant to come back when they come back for final review with some kind of parking diagrams and how people navigate that internal parking court. I love the suggestions of these kind of green perforations, these kind of spaces in between. I'd love to see some additional detail on what those are as well. If they're just plants or there's going to be some other kind of courtyard or places for people to sit, what happens in those interstitial spaces. But particularly that internal parking area, at least with the drawings I presented, it doesn't seem like, at least for me, it's going to work all that well, and love to have the applicant kind of bring back some more detailed diagrams of how that's going to function.
Thank you. If there are no other comments or questions, may we have a motion and just note what is on the screen as far as the recommendations from design review and planning staff, please.
I'll take it. So you've been take the load off you. I move approval of schematic design for FW 2026-02, the Battery Park Apartments, incorporating recommendations from design review related to exploring a warmer palette, insularity, etc., the movement of the bike storage, and also noting planning staff's request that further details are brought forward about urban form overlay compliance.
You have a second?
A second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Anthony?
Yes.
Luker?
Yes.
Gray Scott?
Yes.
Sargent?
Yes.
Sly?
Yes.
And Whitfield?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much, Adam and Bill. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Nate, you're hanging?
I'm sticking around.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure.
He likes hanging out with us.
You like hanging out? We're gonna stay in the Far West Design Review. Next on deck is FW 2026-03. This is Smyrna Church. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Located at 1433 West 57th. Do we have Matt either present or online?
Yes. So you guys know, Matt and I have a history. Over 20 years ago. No, anyway, we used to work together.
Matt, and then I'll swear you both in, and then I'll just ask you to state your name for the record. Do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth, excuse me, start again. The whole truth, nothing but the truth for this matter and hearing under the penalty of perjury?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, and full name for the record, please.
Matt Stevenson. Robert Brocker.
Thank you both so much. Slides are going to be up, everyone will advance.
Okay, we're here to present the Smyrna Church. This is the existing site plan. The little L-shaped building is their current facilities, and they would like to expand. The current footprint is about 3,500 square feet, and they're looking to expand to about 11,000. And you can see here some of the site photos. Their existing church is the little kind of white bunker that's set back off the street. Their fellowship hall is the piece, the L-shaped piece that's extending off to the right. And they have acquired the two properties to their north. Okay, so this is the zoning site plan. We are working through zoning to meet the new front setback requirements. We've already submitted to zoning. We hope to have their variances here in the coming week. The parking is kind of in the same spot. We have a new curb cut. It's actually kind of discussed this a little bit in depth in the planning review. It's a very odd curb cut, the existing curb cut. You kind of drive over the gutter. So it's a little unnerving actually to pull in. One of the things that the local design review did mention is getting rid of the existing curb cuts. So I think we want to add that to our next submittal. This is the lower level. They need additional classrooms to run their programs. So this is really an impetus for the project. They don't have any place to have, whatever the Sunday school or adult classrooms. And then as we're going upstairs, this is where the sanctuary, and then we're placing the fellowship hall on the street. So they're putting their face out onto the street. So they'll have windows on the street, it's bracing the neighborhood on the south side there, or excuse me, plan south. Plan east faces the parking lot. And it's kind of raised, so you'll see it has kind of like a traditional church stoop. So we have the steps that come down to the parking and also come down to the street. This is just a typical straightforward roof plan. And the top elevation here is the one that faces the street, and the bottom one is one that faces the parking lot. And you'll see we kind of kick the roof up at the entrance, so it has a more presence and feels a little more like you're entering a place of religious worship. The materials are, there's a corrugated metal and then a flat metal panel that has kind of a wood look to it on the front. Want to bring some warmth to the building. This is just a general building section. You can kind of see how it's sort of half in, half out of the ground. It's how we are achieving 2 stories without being overpowering the neighborhood. You know, we needed to get all that program in. We needed to have 2 floors. And this is the rendering. And you could see from the street, the street presence, you know, it's kind of clearly a place of religious worship. The steps that I mentioned previously, there you see where the new drive is. And another view. This is coming from Detroit. That you would have. And from the parking lot. To get up to the sanctuary level, we have a ramp, and that's what you're seeing. And we're actually putting planters kind of in between the switchbacks, so it's not just a big stretch of concrete.
Thank you so much. Nate?
Yes, so to start, just to note that we're not reviewing the demolitions of the properties because they're not in design review districts. So that is a sort of a by right demolition of their existing church and the house next door. We're only reviewing the new construction. So this did come this week at design review for schematic approval. It was approved. There was some interest in seeing more material sheets and details specifically on the front canopy entrance. We discussed the old curb cuts no longer needed. There was a comment to explore secondary access off of sort of a parcel that's behind them. I'm not sure how feasible that is because that's an existing parking lot for a neighboring property owner. And then just a note too with the zoning, there will be a rear yard variance needed, we think for sure. And then also, it wasn't mentioned Wednesday, but I think there might be a need to shift a little bit of the parking on the it would be the south side of the property a few feet further because there's existing window openings in the neighboring house, and you can't have it within 10 feet of a window. So with that, the project was approved schematically, and we think it's a great project, and design review really liked the overall design as well.
Commission members, comments or questions?
Yes, you go back to the renderings. I think it's one back of this. The next one. There it is. Thank you. Actually, I just wanted to sort of demonstrate how well the applicant pulled off not feeling like there's a basement and it feels like 1 story, and they got to, you know, sort of the verticality they needed to sort of create a permanent, sort of a permanent sort of placeholder, or I can't think of the word I'm looking for. But I think that's a prominent, elevation along both streets, or the parking and the street. You said that there's to the applicant, you said what type of material is it? Is it like metal panel, or
It's gonna be top would be the corrugated metal panel. The wood look on the bottom would probably be an ACM.
Okay. I think for the size of the building, it's actually, in my opinion, a really impactful design.
Mm-hmm.
It did a lot with not such a big envelope and big footprint. I think it's impressive to me. So that was one thing. Yeah. Pardon?
That's an upgrade.
Upgrade.
We're looking at the current.
Yeah, it's a
Definitely an upgrade.
Definitely an upgrade. Other comments or questions from commission members? Hearing none, we have a motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve Broward's Design 2026-03 for schematic approval with the conditions recommended by Broward's Design Review to provide material sheet and detail on front canopy, remove the old curb cuts, explore secondary access off West 55th Place, and also improve screening and or remove parking further away from the south house, and provide adequate dumpster access.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please, Evelyn.
Anthony,
Yes.
Luker,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Blythe,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much.
And Madam Chair, could I just have the record reflect that there will be most likely variances required and this approval is condition precedent over going to pursue those approvals. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna move into our slate of mandatory referrals. Just as a reminder to commission members, we already addressed the first item in that section of our agenda. So first up, we have ordinance number 95-2026. This is designating the Beachland Ballroom and Tavern as a Cleveland landmark. Welcome.
Madam Chair, I thought we promised to have hot chocolate at these stories about landmarks. I just wanted to make it
Next
clear.
time.
Okay.
So excited.
Good morning, everything, Madam Chair. Carl Brendes, Cleveland Landmark staff. The Cleveland Landmarks Commission nominated the Beachland Ballroom and Tavern for Landmarks designation on January 8th, 2026. Owner consent has been obtained. I would like to acknowledge the work of former AmeriCorps community surveyor Julia LaPlaca, as her National Register questionnaire provided a great deal of information for this presentation. The building is located in the North Collinwood neighborhood in Ward 10. Croatians immigrated to Cleveland in large numbers between the 1860s and 1919, with immigration continuing through the 1980s. In the 1860s, economic pressures by the ruling Habsburg Empire disrupted life in this principality. High taxes and trade restrictions forced roughly 20% of native Croatian population to immigrate to America before World War I. Many settled in regions with mining and steel production industries like Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Later, hardship from the World Wars and oppression from the Communist Revolution encouraged more Croatians to immigrate to the States. In Cleveland, Croatian immigration peaked in 1910, and it was in the early 20th century that major Croatian religious, fraternal, school, social, and political groups formed. On the east side of town, Croatian immigrants settled in Glenville, Euclid, Nottingham, and Collinwood, which are all near industrial centers. The plot was originally purchased in 1931 under the name Croatian Liberty Home, Inc. The Croatian Liberty Home was founded in Collinwood in 1906. The society helped its members get insurance and assisted with burial costs. The Croatian Liberty Group also championed Croatian culture, hosting numerous events and celebrations. In 1937, Frame House on the east side of the plot was converted into a club by adding a basement and one-story brick building to the front of the existing house. After 2 decades of fundraising by 4 Croatian fraternal groups, plans to erect a $100,000 building on the west side of the plot began. Firma Matzinger and Grossel were hired to design the structure. Matzinger was a well-known architect, having designed numerous churches, urban buildings, and terraces throughout Cleveland. Several of his buildings are designated Cleveland landmarks or are contributing structures to historic districts, including most recently the First Hungarian Reformed Stone Church on East 79th Street. In his partnership with Grossel, they designed commercial structures, including multiple theaters such as the Mayland and the Hallie's department store at the Southland Park Shopping Center. Rudolf Grossel first appears as an architect in the 1936 Cleveland City Directory. Prior to his partnership with Matzinger, he had a few smaller projects listed in the newspapers, and after Matzinger retired, he partnered with Richard Jensen until 1971. They continued work on apartment complexes and commercial structures such as the Giant Tiger Discount Center in Willoughby and the Federal Department Store at the Westgate Shopping Center. The hall opened in April 1950. Over the next 3 decades, it hosted Croatian cultural events as well as union meetings for various industrial workers. In addition to the rear of the building was built in 1976. In the 1980s, the decision to relocate their community space to the east suburbs followed the trajectory of many longtime Croatian families who were moving out of Cleveland proper. In 1984, a new Croatian lodge was dedicated in East Lake on Lakeshore Boulevard. The sprawling $2.5 million building is still a popular venue for Croatian cultural events, weddings, and other gatherings. The Croatian Liberty Home was briefly placed on the market in 1991, but did not sell at that time. In 2000, the building was acquired by Cindy Barber and Mark Blvd. Soon after, they launched their new venue, the Beachland Ballroom, with the smaller, approximately 150-person tavern opening first, and this was followed a month later by the approximately 450-person Ballroom's first concert. In an article in the Plain Dealer at the time, Ms. Barber was quoted as saying, "The place will rejuvenate the neighborhood." There are a number of significant bands that have played in the building over time, but two to note are first an early appearance by the White Stripes in support of their first album. The White Stripes were just inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2025. And in 2002, the future multiple Grammy Award-winning band out of Akron, Ohio, the Black Keys, played their first live performance. The building has played host to artists spanning multiple genres of music. In 2003, the neon signage was added in concert with the city's storefront renovation program, and parking lot and site being improved the following year, including the demolition of the original clubhouse. The Beachland Ballroom and Tavern has been an anchor to revitalize the business district along Waterloo Road. In 2002, the nonprofit Waterloo Arts was formed to enrich the neighborhood culturally and economically by creating a stimulating arts environment through quality exhibits, performances, special events, and educational programs for people of all ages. Today, the Beachland Ballroom and Tavern is one of many arts and cultural institutions on Waterloo Road. This area had been designated by community members as the Waterloo Arts District. Numerous murals, gallery spaces, and renovated buildings give the neighborhood an eclectic flavor. Following the tradition of the Croatian Liberty Home, the Beachland contributes to the evolving culture of the Waterloo Arts District through its concerts, community space, and food and retail businesses. In 2020, the site was surveyed by Ms. LaPlaca as part of a National Register questionnaire. It was determined that the property appears to be eligible for nomination to the National Register of Historic Places for significance under Criterion A as a property significant for its association with Eastern European ethnic history in Cleveland at the local level. In 2023, the storefront renovation program was utilized again for needed repairs and improvements that are listed here. And then our current conditions. You can see the improvements, the addition in the rear. In the basement, there's a green room, office, and a vintage and record store. Tavern. The addition, the hallway leading into the ballroom. Still have the murals up from the Croatian period. We look forward to the continuing enhancement of the historic significance as the Beachland Ballroom and its contribution as an anchor to the ongoing neighborhood revitalization, which may prove to be just as significant as its time as a Croatian Liberty Home. Thank you.
Yeah, we needed the hot cocoa. Thank you so much. Really great, amazing information. A lot of it I was unaware of. Commission members, comments, questions?
I'll move approval of ordinance 9526 to designate the Beachland Ballroom as a Cleveland landmark.
We have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Luker,
Yes.
Gray Scott. Yes. Sergeant,
Yes.
Blythe,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. You're hanging out with us for a bit. We have ordinance number 27-2026. This is designating Mount Moriah Baptist Church as a Cleveland landmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Still Carl Brunges, Landmark staff. I've got another story for you. The Cleveland Landmarks Commission nominated Mount Moriah Baptist Church for landmark status on December 11th, 2025. Owner consent has been obtained. Okay. The church is located in the Glenville Statistical Planning Area in Ward 9. It is at the corner of St. Clair Avenue and East 101st Street. The congregation began as a mission when a few people met at the home of Edward and Mary Catley at 2235 East 70th Street in 1946. On January 8, 1947, before a large audience assembled at the main auditorium of the Second Mount Sinai Baptist Church, the pastor, Reverend David W. Hill, assisted by other ministers of the city, organized Mount Moriah Baptist Church. The Reverend Ulysses G. Eves, former assistant pastor at Second Mount Sinai, was called. The congregation had been meeting in the Turner Gospel Singers Auditorium at 3212 Woodland Avenue before Max Berry's 40th Street Mission, aka Max Berry's Tabernacle at 2522 East 40th Street. Elizabeth Sarah Maxbury was an evangelist with the African Methodist Episcopal Zion denomination, preaching all over the Midwest and East Coast, and was referred to as Zion Gospel's whirlwind preacher. She had been preaching for more than 15 years when she purchased the property in 1943. Mount Moriah's time on East 40th would be short-lived. After the passage of the Federal Housing Act of 1949, Cleveland was involved in multiple urban renewal projects in 1954, including the Interbelt Highway, Area B, and Area K that would displace large amounts of African-American residents. The city of Cleveland adopted the Longwood Urban Renewal Project on September 2nd. This plan called for slum clearance and redevelopment of Area B between East 33rd and East 40th Streets, Scoville Avenue on the north, and Woodland Avenue on the south, which is about 39 acres. This including the demolition of 300 buildings, which would affect about 1,000 families. Mount Moriah's location on the west side of East 40th Street placed it on the eastern boundary of the project, necessitating finding a new location. The church sold the property to the city in October 1954 and moved to the Glenville neighborhood. The 10th German Reformed Church was formed in 1896, with the church being completed the following year. They became known as the Glenville Evangelical and Reformed Church after the merger of the Evangelical Synod of North America and the Synod of the Reformed Church in the United States in 1934. In 1944, Reverend Roy Geiselman was called to serve both this congregation and North Congregational Church at East 72nd and St. Clair. The following year, these two congregations were officially united, in which the plain dealer referred to a project dramatizing in miniature the proposed union of the Congregational Christian and Evangelical Reformed denominations. Due to declining members, a decade later, the two congregations would split and merge with others within their own denominations. 3 years later, the merger of the two denominations to create the United Church of Christ became official. In 1962, membership had increased to a point where the current building was no longer adequate. It was decided to demolish the old building and create a new one, and they hired an architect who was still in the first decade of his practice to design it. Robert P. Madison is a significant figure in the world of architecture, despite facing racism in his education and career early. He is a Cleveland native, born in 1923. Following in his father's path, he attended college at Howard University. He placed his studies on hold to serve in the Army in a segregated unit during World War II. In 1946, he was initially denied admission to Western Reserve University School of Architecture due to his race. He was finally admitted after returning in his military uniform, including his Purple Heart and 3 battle ribbons. He became the first African American to graduate from the program, and despite his awards, local architecture firms refused to let him complete an application. He was finally hired by architect Robert A. Little after offering to work for free. In 1950, he became the first African American registered to practice architecture in Ohio. He returned to Howard University and earned his master's degree in 1952. He won a Fulbright fellowship to study at the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. Upon his return, he accepted a faculty position at Howard University. In 1954, he founded the first Black-owned architectural firm in Ohio and the 10th in the United States, operating out of a house at 1335 East 105th Street. He was later joined by his brothers Julie and Bernard, graduates of the School of Architecture and Engineering at Howard University, to form Madison Architects and Engineers. Throughout the 1960s, the firm earned commissions locally, nationally, and internationally. Bernard left for Baltimore in 1970 to start his own business, and the company was renamed Madison & Madison. It was one of the largest minority-owned architecture and engineering firms headquartered in the United States. Julian left in 1983 to oversee the branch offices in Detroit, Milwaukee, and Chicago, and the firm was renamed Robert P. Madison International, Inc. Robert P. Madison International continues to contribute significantly to the architectural landscape of Cleveland. The firm has trained some 200 African-American architects, engineers, and planners since its inception. Madison founded the Ohio Association of Minority Architects and launched the Robert P. Madison Scholarship for Architecture for African Americans. He has been lauded multiple times for his contributions throughout his groundbreaking career. In May of 1963, Mount Moriah congregation began using their new church, and they were greeted with the creations of another significant artist. Douglas Phillips moved to Cleveland when he was 17, and after serving in the Army during World War II, he returned to Cleveland and attended the Cleveland Institute of Art and later Syracuse University, studying portraiture and illustration. He is believed to be the only African-American artist to run his own stained glass studio in Ohio and perhaps the nation between the years of 1952 and 1995. Phillips' stained glass studio had a reputation for museum quality restoration and was receiving a large number of commissions for religious and secular buildings within Ohio and in other cities throughout the United States and England. Phillips was particularly adept at fusing traditional religious symbols with a more contemporary approach to lines and color. He broke from the traditional Gothic themes that incorporated energy from his fascination with the space program, jazz, and modern art. He introduced dynamic form and sweeping ribbons of color into stained glass beginning in the mid-1950s. In an article for Ebony magazine comparing painting and stained glass in 1971, he noted, "In viewing stained glass, your eye experiences light that has passed through the entirety of the glass. The beauty depends not just on the intensity and direction of the sun, but also on the depths and nuances of the colors inside the glass." Not only did he work in portraiture and stained glass, but also in lighting. He was involved in the General Electric Christmas lighting display at Nela Park for 16 years, which had its last year last year. He was a member of the Stained Glass Association of America and the Illuminating Engineering Society of North America. He was also elected to the Royal Society of Arts in England. The example shown here is from Greater Friendship Baptist Church, which is how we were able to note that he was in the Mount Moriah records were silent as to who the stained glass maker was, but then we were able to, because we had looked at this church for the National Register and looking at the similarities between the glass between, it was like, oh, and we found his name in his records later. Now in this building for more than 6 decades, the congregation has been an anchor in the community, providing support programs and celebrating cultural identity. And we have our current conditions. See, the old parsonage is still standing at the rear of the property. We don't have any additional information on that at this time. The stained glass in the front will need some repairs at some point. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Comments?
A couple comments. I have history with Robert P. Madison. My wife and I actually met there, but we worked at his offices from the mid 80s to early 90s. Bob is still alive. He's 102 years old, and which is awesome. He's still spry, and I think he would still be driving had they not taken his driving privileges away. So, and it's so fitting because this is Black History Month. celebrating Black excellence. We don't hear these stories enough, how much contributions we see throughout this city, the country, and the world of African-American folks. So thank you for that story. And so I guess I'll move, having said that, to approve ordinance number 2726 under mandatory referrals, designating Mount Moriah Baptist Church as a Cleveland landmark as presented.
A second motion.
Motion in the second. Evelyn, roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker.
Yes.
Gray Scott.
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Life.
Yes.
And Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. Yes. Still remaining in mandatory referrals, we have ordinance number 2026, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to enter into a license and a right-of-way agreement, granting the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, also known as AMTRAK, as a designee, the right to use and occupy city-owned property. Good morning.
Good morning. Dan Doherty, Office of Capital Projects, Real Estate Section. Yeah, so the city parcel we're talking about is highlighted there in yellow. So it sits between the Shoreway and the railroad tracks. And then the AMTRAK station's on the western side of the parcel. What AMTRAK's looking to do is they're making sure that the areas are ADA compliant. So they're going to be replacing the platform along the track and also the access ways to those platforms. So what they need from the city is they just need a license to get to the work area through the city property. They also want some areas for material storage and staging. And they're also looking for some areas for parking for the employees of the contractor. So they're looking to start the project this spring, and they think it'll take about almost 2 years to complete. In the meantime, yeah, there won't be any impacts to the station operation or any of the parking areas, and anything they disturb in that area they'll restore on the city property. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Commission members?
Madam Chair, I do have a question concerning how much longer will AMTRAK be there?
Good question. They're aware of it. They're aware of it. With the North Coast Connector project, yeah, they're aware that the station is in the way, so to speak. So, yeah, they've been coordinating with the city regarding that.
Okay.
Yeah, but obviously they still wanted to move forward with this. They've been going around the country doing these ADA improvements at their stations, and Cleveland just happened to be next on the list.
Thank you.
Yep. No, I was gonna make a joke, but I'll just move approval of ordinance 3426.
Second.
A motion and a second. Evelyn, roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker.
Yes.
Gray Scott.
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Life.
Yes.
And Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Looked like you wanted to say something,
Go
Councilman.
ahead, Councilman.
Oh, like we have ordinances against overnight construction, so it won't conflict with passenger service.
Oh, yeah. Next up, we have ordinance number 35-2026, giving consent of the city of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation in the state of Ohio to rehabilitate the Old Detroit Road Bridge. Welcome.
Good morning,
I'm
everybody.
disappointed. You don't have a shirt on.
I'm on the lookout for a long sleeve flannel Hawaiian shirt, and I'm not doing very well with that.
It was a little cold out.
It won't happen again. Rick Swatowski, Manager of Engineering Construction, and to my right is
Katie Moore, Special Project Manager in MoCap.
first project is the Old Detroit Bridge. Oh, everyone's not doing it.
You can do it.
That's why I brought you.
I can do it.
All right, you can do it.
going to be one of those days. I'm sorry. This is in Ward 7, Councilman Davis. This bridge is if you drive by that area, you'll never see this bridge. It's actually on Riverbed Road, down below everything. If you go to the next slide, you'll see this dual tunnel there. This tunnel is actually, the bridge itself was built in 1853 for the Erie Lackawanna Railroad. It's a historic structure. But when Stonebridge Apartments were built, they filled in the back edge of that and built their parking lot over there. So this is a general rating of 3, which is very serious, and this bridge is in bad condition. So we were able to get funding to basically entomb it. We're going to fill those 2 tunnels up with grout, leave about 10 foot of it, redo all that stonework, and then when the Irishtown Bend and the Lake Link lines open, it'll be a nice, attractive place for people to go by and enjoy looking at a very historic structure. Some of the project scope, next slide, is clearing and grubbing, drainage, like as I said, fill the tunnel with grout, repair and seal the sandstone, install rail and fencing. Next one. Construction estimate is $1.5 million. We're looking to start this project sometime in May of 2026 and finish it up in August of 2027. Any questions?
Awesome. Thank you, Rick. Anything else you wanted to add, Katie? Okay. Commission members, any comments or questions?
I'll move approval of ordinance 3526.
Just a question. Why do the tunnels have to be filled?
They are already partially filled.
Okay.
And why they have to be filled is that the bridge is a rating of 3, which is very serious and you have to have serious repairs done to it, which will cost millions of dollars. By just completing the filling to about 10 feet of that wall, we basically take this off our bridge list and it's no longer considered a bridge. So the city will not have to expend additional funds to do any more work, but we will preserve the look of it and have it there for folks on the trails when they come by.
Understood.
If I can have a follow-up question, what was it a bridge over? What was on?
Railroad tracks.
Just railroad tracks?
Right.
They're
The
all
Irishtown Bend used to be a big manufacturing area and supply area, so trains were going there all the time.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yeah.
Are there tracks still under there? Anything?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Gray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Second.
second.
Yes.
All right. Slife.
Yes.
And Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, we have ordinance number 36-2026, giving consent of the city of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation, State of Ohio, to construct a multimodal transportation enhancements along E66 along Chester and Superior Avenues.
Thank you. We're really excited about this project. It's a multimodal one in Ward 8 with Council Member House Jones. Katie's very familiar with it and we'll take you through the rest of the presentation.
Thanks, Rick. So our E66 project, which has been called the Midtown Huff Connector, Huff Midtown Connector, Dream 66, and other names, was originally a TLCI planning project with the city and NOACA and all of our stakeholders. And we are so thrilled that this project is going into construction. So as a reminder of where it is, it's on East 66, and the corridor actually goes to Euclid. It goes Euclid to Superior, but we were able to complete the Euclid to Chester section with the Cleveland Foundation's campus work. So that portion is already complete. And so we'll be going from Chester to Superior with this project. As an idea of what to expect, this project includes full and base repairs of the road, so bringing the road up to current standards. It will include improvements to sidewalks, curbs, drive aprons, and drainage. So everything that would be up to kind of the modern standard. Some of the street has already been improved over time because there's been some development, some really great work going on the street. We also will be putting in a shared use path on the west side of the street. That was very important to the community to have a continuous path all the way from Superior to Euclid. And then what we're really excited about is the streetscaping, landscaping, street trees that we're going to bring onto the corridor. We hope that it will really give that curb appeal and make people see this as a culturally significant street that it is. Another item which I'll show you some photos of or some renderings of are new traffic signals and controls and pedestrian lighting, which should also enhance the look of the street, and updated signing and pavement markings. We are looking to provide some on-street parking on the street in order to make more opportunities for development along the corridor.
Madam Chair, since you're on scope, are you going to install a pedestrian signal that crosses Chester?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, so Chester.
Because one doesn't exist now.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll show you kind of how we are redesigning Chester. So, yeah.
Nice.
Just
Thank
as
you.
an additional point, given all these trees and plantings, our contract does contain young tree training and maintenance for 2 years. So we're not just planting trees walking away. We want to get them growing and yes.
Just a little slow. So what does it take to build this? So we are looking at a $8.3 million project. We are going to go into construction this summer. We were very fortunate to come around some federal dollars through NOACA, through their TLCI program, a wonderful grant from the Cleveland Foundation, and then we were able to put this into our CIP for a road and bridge bond. So that makes up our funding totals, and it should take about 2 years to construct. We'll do everything we can to get it all in before December of 2027. And here are those drawings that I wanted to show you. So what you could expect on the corridor. So you'll see this is enhanced from what we would typically do from a planting perspective. It includes planting beds, which will have perennials, flowers, more like what you're used to seeing in some of our special improvement districts, and then a lot of trees. We were also able to, through the design process, figure out a way to retain about 23 mature sycamore trees that were on the corridor. Originally, we were thinking that they were going to have to come out, but we were able to rework the design. So we'll have some really large existing trees, and then we will add to those with these smaller trees that will train over time and really give the corridor a residential and warm feel. And then the next slide is Chester. So we were able to work with Ohio Department of Transportation to consider major upgrades at Chester. So you'll see we're going to have refuge spaces on both sides of Chester, along with those walk countdown signals for pedestrian with push button controls. We're also going to have the mast arm that will give the street name on it, so that it will give more presence to the roadway. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Evelyn, can you zoom in a little bit on the right-hand side? Thank you. I just wanted a better view.
So what we really want folks to know when they're coming down Chester is that they're to expect pedestrians here and to know that this is a node for the city.
Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you.
And that concludes our presentation.
An observation, then a question. Carnegie Road work was recently completed, at least the western part of Carnegie. I think the eastern part's gonna start when the weather permits. There are a couple crosswalk ways along Carnegie, and I drive by there, and what I find kind of disturbing is people can't use it because it's covered with snow. So they're crossing in the middle of the street, and I'm trying to figure out how. I don't expect the city to go plow every crosswalk that way. What can you do to sort of create an agreement with some of the property owners, because they have plows and they're shoveling anyway, to own it, right? It's like, say, for example, Galucci's crosswalk at Carnegie, maybe they own that and they come and clear the snow. Because that's the whole intent, is to create safe passage for pedestrians. But now you have people walking in the middle of the street because they can't cross at the crosswalks. Second question, and I should have probably inquired, is city architecture involved in any of the design here?
Yes, they were part of our design team.
I'm gonna have to abstain. Since I've already participated, I should have asked that question before. Is that fine? Okay.
Can you state the reason for the requirement?
State the reason. I have financial relationship with city architecture after I retired.
Other comments, questions?
I will move approval of ordinance 3626.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please, Evelyn.
Anthony?
Yes.
Looker is abstaining. McCreascott?
Yes.
Sergeant?
Yes.
And Slythe?
Yes.
And then Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
So let me be very more direct. Cleveland Foundation should keep that crosswalk clear if they're a real stakeholder in this process. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's that?
That's very nice of you.
Thank
You're not
you.
hurting for money.
Next up on deck, we have ordinance number 71-2026, giving consent of the city of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the state of Ohio to construct the improvement of the Cuyahoga, I'm assuming, Memorial Bridge Loop project.
Thank you. This project is actually a piece of what is the loop around the whole downtown. Katie will explain in a little bit. It's actually split between Ward 7 with Councilmember Davis and Ward 5 with Councilmember Starr. And with that, I'll have Katie go through it.
Great. Memorial Bridges Loop is a concept that came out of Leadership Cleveland group a number of years ago. It's a recognized running route and cycle route for the community. We see runs on this loop because it's almost exactly a 5K. It's like just over 3 miles. We see runs of 100 or so people on the regular, and then large runs with 300 and more folks. So the idea is that the entire route for the Memorial Bridges Loop would take you over the Veterans Memorial Bridge, which is also Lorraine Avenue, Lorraine Carnegie Bridge, around on 25th, across the Hope Memorial Bridge, which is Detroit Superior Bridge, around on Huron to Ontario. So that is the, oh, I got them backwards. I'm sorry, I got the 2 bridges backwards, but it's a loop around to get to downtown and then into Ohio City. And our project that we're asking for consent for today is to construct the portion that's on Huron Road and Ontario. Because the Detroit Superior Bridge already has the pedestrian and bikeway on it. So we're connecting to that existing bikeway and sidewalk. We're going to take people around onto Huron, and then at the street level, which we'll go into in a moment, and then around onto Ontario, down to approximately where the Eagle Avenue Viaduct was, where the new Eagle Avenue Bridge will be built, to the existing trail that then starts just past Eagle Avenue Bridge and carries you back over Lorraine Carnegie Bridge. So again, the city was very fortunate to receive funding from NOACA's Transportation Alternatives Program, and also federal earmark funding from Rep. Brown. And then we were able to complete the funding stack with city road and bridge bonds through our regular capital improvement program. This project is scheduled to begin construction this summer, and it will be administered by ODOT, and they believe that we can complete that construction in 1 construction season. So it would be open by the end of this year, so be ready for the spring. Here again is that description of the path. And this is a detailed description of the scope. So we will expand that curb and sidewalk at Superior and Huron, so that's when you come over the Detroit Superior Bridge, in order to make more space there at the corner. If you've been to that corner, it's very narrow, and there's some posts for the traffic lights and also for other infrastructure. Then we'll have a 11 to 12 foot shared use path on Huron. It will be street level. So you will come in front of the Stokes Courthouse and then go down at street level. There will be delineators to show that that's not a place for cars, that's a place for people. Travel you all the way at street level to the corner of Ontario and Huron, and then it'll bring you back up to sidewalk level. We're going to pull the curb out on Ontario to make a full size path there, and then it will connect into the existing path. It will also have new fencing put in and some green space added. We have some renderings included in our presentation to show that extended area at Superior and Huron, and then that street level path there in front of the courthouse. extending down to Ontario Street again, and then that transition up onto Ontario. I believe that is the last slide. Is that connection back to where the Eagle Avenue viaduct is, where the Eagle Avenue Bridge will be, and into the existing route. With that, I take any questions.
Madam Chair, if I may, before the commission members chime in, I know that Commission Member Fluker often asks about sort of beyond the postage stamp. And Evelyn, if you could go back just one slide or two to that Huron-Ontario intersection. This is a really key connector, not only for the Memorial Bridges loop that Katie outlined, but also, as you recall, the Eagle Avenue Bridge connection down to the riverfront has a two-way bikeway that connects down into the network in the flats. So that will plug up right here on Ontario, and also the city's recent addition and conversion of bicycle infrastructure on Huron Road and Prospect, leading up into downtown, into the Gateway District, with a short jump over to Playhouse Square. So we're beginning to knit together this connected, protected bicycle infrastructure. And this piece here, in addition to Superior, coming over the Detroit Superior Bridge, continuing on West Superior to the Superior Midway, which will be picking up on the east side of Public Square. All of these connections are starting to be stitched together.
Director.
Thank you. Comments and questions?
Madam Chair, to the planning director, I am worried about the implications to traffic of narrowing Ontario Street. She's smiling. That was a joke. Okay, so it's the widest street in America.
I can assure you that it has been carefully studied.
I'll move approval of ordinance 71, 2026.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
May I?
Oh, sorry.
Go out. I'll add afterwards. Go ahead.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
McRae Scott.
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slight,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Since I'm on the topic of snow removal, I know this is outside your purview, but we all do design and build streets. Go to the Cavs game periodically, and what's disturbing is in front of the cemetery from East Ninth is never plowed. People are walking in the street, the parking lots plow, the ballpark plows, and then you have that section, and it's actually really dangerous because you got little kids and everything. So we plan great streets. We need to figure out how we maintain them as well. And I know, this could be a simple conversation with the Cavs and or the Guardian, say, hey, you guys are out here plowing, come up with some sort of reciprocal agreement or something.
Right.
A lot of them drive their little vehicles across the street and take 20 minutes, if that, to clear the sidewalk. So just a thought. Thank you.
Awesome. Next up, we have ordinance number 9. Yeah, no. They're in for the long haul.
Oh, no. I got to listen to August another couple.
Ordinance number 90-2026, giving consent of the city of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the state of Ohio to repair and resurface South Waterloo Road from East 140th Street to East 152nd Street.
Thank you. Yes, this in the next when we'll talk about are both resurfacing projects where we receive funds through NOACA federal funds. This is in Ward 10, Councilmember Polensik. Basically, it's a resurfacing job and putting everything back the way it was. It's a 0.7 miles long. We'll be doing full and partial depth replacements, asphalt resurfacing, new sidewalk curbs and ADA ramps as needed, utility adjustment and pavement markings. Like I said, it's a resurfacing project. Next slide, please. Construction cost is $1.3 million. We should be going into construction in May and finishing in October, end of the year. Any questions?
Awesome. Thank you.
Going to be a lot of construction barrels out everywhere.
I'll move approval of ordinance 90-26.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
McRae Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slight,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance number 91-2026, giving consent of the city of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the state of Ohio to construct the improvement of resurfacing Van Aken Boulevard.
Yay.
You got a yay, so not quite formal motion, but.
I guess we don't have to go through this one.
Yeah.
Ben Aken from South Woodland, the Shaker Boulevard, is in Ward 3, Councilmember Bray. Again, a resurfacing project, and what you don't see is that little section that crosses over, connecting the two Shaker Boulevard lanes. That section where tracks are, RTA is going to be doing that concurrently with our work, so you'll have a nice new area coming in over there. Again, full and partial base repairs, complete asphalt, sidewalk, curbs, ADA ramps as necessary, pavement markings. Project is estimated to cost, again, $1.3 million, very similar to the other one. Construction start in May, complete by October. Any questions?
Thank you. Motion?
I move for approval of ordinance number 91-2026.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
Gray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slipe,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Commission members, I'm gonna just turn over to Vice Chair Fluker for a moment for me to step out.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Madam Chair. Next ordinance number 122-2026 under mandatory referrals. Introducing giving the consent to the City of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation, State of Ohio to construct Cuyahoga Cleveland Downtown Connector Trail Project number 1, or Trail 1 project.
Thank you. This is a part of the downtown connector. It's in Ward 5, Councilmember Starr. It's one of several pieces. Currently we have completed through ODOT and Pershing to Broadway. That's in place. This is another leg, and there's two to follow. ODOT will connect this one to the one they previously did, and then we're looking to make that connection downtown to Orange Avenue. So with that, Katie's a trail person expert, so we'll turn it over to her.
Yes, so this is a link, kind of a gap that exists right now. So what we are doing is we are, our project begins right at the Fleet Avenue and Washington Park Boulevard, Independence Crete intersection. It's fairly complicated intersection with folks coming off of 77 and also moving into the Newburgh, the village of Newburgh Heights, which is kind of to the south to that Washington reservation there. So what we are doing is we are putting the trail basically on Crete Avenue on that eastern side of the median will then all be trail, and it will carry you up in a nice park-like trail environment to 48th Street, which where the end of project item is. So we do have to realign that intersection, which we hope will be good for the trail, but also be better for traffic, so folks know which way to go when you get to Fleet. This project is part of the trail Slavic Village Downtown Connector Trail. So this is just a short section. We are again fortunate to have about $1.4 million in transportation alternatives funding for this project. And then again, part of our capital improvement program, local funds. We are anticipating construction starting in May and completed this year. It is a very short section. And then this gives you a little bit more of an idea of the full route that goes along 77 and then gets you into downtown. It is a sidewalk level, fully separated path all the way from Slavic Village to downtown Cleveland. So it will be similar to the way that you think about how people use the towpath. And here is that trail network that it would be connecting into. And if someone asks you, this was originally called the Downtown Connector Trail, Trail 1, which we now call Slavic Village Downtown Connector South, if someone asks which project this is. So see that south is just beyond the purple, so we're making that connection. And then as Rick mentioned, the central connection will be a part of ODOT's project. And then the blue section is the north section, and that's part of the Raised Trail bundle that you'll hear about from Cleveland Metro Parks, which they received US DOT funding for 2 years ago. So we're hoping to see that project come into construction in the next year or so, and then you'll be able to make that full connection. And with that, take any questions.
I just
like to, if you will, don't have to, but if you were to go back one slide, I'd like to challenge us to try to find a way to connect this trail to the stump end of the Opportunity Corridor. I know that it requires getting it up, and then there's some railroad tracks, and then over Broadway and stuff. But I really feel like that this would actually become an accessible amenity to a lot of people living across that whole swath of the east side for that break in the connection.
Good point. And I use the Opportunity Corridor Trail, and I get to East 55th. I'm like, do I want to? It's dicey, right? Trying to go down East 55th to get to Broadway. In my opinion.
If I can respond, so the city is working with the Metro Parks on concepts for the Opportunity Corridor Trail, which is also called Iron Port Connector at one point. So that one continues to be an opportunity that we know exists, but we have not yet determined how to make that project move forward. Yes, we know that that's an important connection. We know that we don't want that to be kind of a stranded asset that's not connected into the network. So hopefully in the next few years, I know Councilman Slife, you're part of the chair of our transportation committee here at the city. Hopefully we can talk through that.
I'll move approval of ordinance 12226.
Second.
Anthony? Abstain. Fluker?
Yes.
McRae Scott?
Yes.
Sargent?
Yes.
Slife?
Yes.
And Whitfield?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you all. Thank you. Is that our last mandatory? Yes.
Yep, that
Okay.
was the last mandatory.
Commission members, if you can just look at your agenda, we have one administrative approval, ordinance number 98-26.
I move for approval of ordinance number 98-2026. I'm sorry.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Anthony?
Yes.
Fluker?
Yes.
McRae Scott?
Yes.
Sargent? Slife?
Yes.
And Whitfield?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you all. Next up, we have for information only a special presentation on the 2025 Public Art Program, which is Chapter 186, and we'll hear from Tara. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. How's everyone? Good.
It's you.
Things are in the works, so they're coming. So I figured this would be a good time to do the annual review of the program. It's been a while. We went through a transitionary period when land wasn't administering the program for a while. So some of the projects got a little bit delayed through that transition, but I just wanted to go over what projects have been completed and installed in the program in 2024 and 2025, and also let you guys know what's in the pipeline that's coming for installation this year. So you all know that the Chapter 186 is our public art ordinance, which dictates that certain projects, capital projects that are 1.5%, that are $300,000 or more for the city's portion of the construction budget has a 1.5% allocation towards public art components. And so this is a bit of a map. I prepared this last year. It shows all the completed projects that have been through the program since its inception in 2003. And then those are in red, and then the ones in blue I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Those are things that are in progress right now. And when I say in progress, meaning it's at least under contract, because we have other things coming that we don't have an artist under contract yet. So just an overview of the program, we've done over 33 installations through Chapter 186, worked with around 35 local artists and firms on over 20 projects. We've worked with another 9 or 10 artists from Ohio, California, New York, and Massachusetts, and women and other minorities currently make up about 50% of those numbers. And then we have another, I think, 12 projects. I don't know if that number is correct. This was from another presentation I did back in the spring. We don't have any, we don't have 3 more RFQs that we're working on right now. We have 1 more right now. So I'm going to start with the Frederick Douglass Family Resource and Recreation Center on Miles Avenue. I believe that's in Ward 1. We had 3 local and regional artists. 2 of the artists are from the city of Cleveland and 1 is from Akron. We had a total project budget for that new facility of $185,000 that was split between the 3. So one of the projects, this was completed second of the 3. There's a bunch of these playful murals in the pool area of children that utilize the facility, and they go around the perimeter of the pool. And that artist is Sankofa Fine Art Plus, who is basically Robin Robinson, and that one was completed in 2024. And these images are from the lobby area of the facility. If you look at the small picture, that's like the lobby when you're walking in the door, and these murals go along the top of the wall over that green ledge. And it's called A Legacy of Leadership, Icons That Inspire. This was by Akron artist Evan Lesueur. That was also completed in 2024. That was the first one to go in the facility. And he's got images of Frederick Douglass, obviously the namesake of the center, Carl Stokes, some other neighborhood icons, and then there's several images throughout the mural that show the different types of activities that we partake in at our recreation centers. And then the last and final installation at Frederick Douglass was the exterior sculpture. That's by Darius Stewart. It's called The Watcher, and she looks like she doesn't play any games. And she will keep those high schoolers next door in check. And then, of course, the day that we went out for the final installation, our very own county executive, Chris Ronayne, happened to be on site. So he's in the one picture in the middle along with the artist. And we were really, really happy with how this turned out. And then next, another project that was completed in 2024 was partially completed in 2024. This artist, Stephen Gutierrez, is local of the area, not city of Cleveland, but local of the area. He did 2 installations at the kennel. One he completed in 2024, and then the other one that you're going to see next was completed in 2025. The total budget for that site was $58,147. And this first sculpture is called Happy Dog Equal Happy Dog, which is a beautiful and rugged sculpture of dogs in motion to soften the experience of going to kennels where people find it a bit intimidating. It's got a little playful edginess to it. And then his other, a little sensitive. His other project was called Gazebones. What's going on? I'm not even touching a button. Okay. It's weird. So he had engaged with the volunteers at the kennel, along with community members, people that come to the kennel to utilize it to adopt dogs. And one of the things that a lot of them mentioned as a recurring theme was a place to rest with the dogs, a place to have shelter when they're out in the cold. And so there's the 2 shelters, the green one and the blue one, and then there's bench seating in there. As you can see, one of the volunteers on the upper right is with one of the dogs. They did some plantings, and then there's a that back portion, the back wall, has inscriptions, and those inscriptions are statements about different people's experiences with their dogs. So to give it some, just, a feel-good spirit to it. And they, I don't have a picture where you can see it from far off, but the shelters are positioned in a way that they kind of talk to each other on the site in that huge green space, and it's along their usual path that they walk the dogs. And this next one was completed also late 2024. The East 140th Street streetscape at 140th and Deese. We brought in artist Nate Frizzell from California. Some of you that were on the committees when these came through for approvals will remember some of the renderings, but these are actually the final products. And that artist engaged with several community members, and they just he found recurring themes of sports in Cleveland and wanting to see innocence and joy in children playing. And then he also, in a more subtle way, kind of dipped into the history of the neighborhood. So the frog, one of the girls, it's not in this picture, but it'll be in an upcoming picture. One of the girls is holding a frog because the area used to be called Frogville. There's a nod to the train history in the neighborhood, Collinwood High School, of course. The owl scene there is a historic feature from one of the buildings in the neighborhood where he also engaged. And then this is a view looking up the street towards the lake, looking north. There's a girl holding the frog. And then the airplane because of the birth of aviation here, and that's the artist Nate Frizzell. And that one also, and I don't remember if I mentioned this to you all before, but this one actually won the National Gold from the National Mural Awards last year for this mural. And so we've got a bunch of stuff in the irons for completion this year. Clark Recreation Center, that is actually almost complete. There is a mural with some mosaic enhancements on top of the painted mural that'll be completed this spring. That's by local artist Shelly Savanovic. Sterling Recreation Center, local artist Lauren Herzak Bowman is in her engineering phase for that particular job. So you'll see that one coming through pretty soon for approval through design review. Buckeye Road Streetscape has been in the works for a while. That's Pittsburgh-based artist James Simon, who also did the Jazz Man on Buckeye. So this will be a little bit of a continuation of theme with 4 sculptures along Buckeye between Martin Luther King and Southmoreland. There's going to be 1 at 2 intersections and 2 at another intersection. Those are actually complete and ready to install. The foundations will be going in the spring, and it should be completed this spring. East 185th Streetscape, local artist, Master Collective led by Robert Gatewood, who is actually hyper local to that neighborhood. He just finished the fabrication on the sculpture, has a few elements to add that'll be installed this year. Fire Station 26, Columbus area based artist Virginia Kistler was contracted for that. That should be going in this year. Lake Pool Park, there's going to be a mural on the pool house there. Akron based artist Lizzie Ehrenholt will be installing that mural. Mercedes Cotner Park, Eileen Dorsey, who's also a Cleveland artist, will be doing some sculptural elements around the pump track there. Orr Park, local Cleveland artist Days One is going to be doing some elements at that park. Glendale Park, local artist Snack Break Studio, we're contracted for that one. And then Forest City Park, local artist Terrence Hubbard was contracted. So all but 2 of these, I think there's 9 projects or 10 projects listed there are local. So that's it. You're welcome. Got a bunch of stuff coming.
Could you
even outside the program?
I don't know if this is, I was curious, when you started, you said there's something with Land Studio, it's not.
Yeah,
what do you mean by that?
They used to administer the program before the position was created that I came into. And then the goal was always, once I came in, to manage it completely in-house. And so we've been managing it completely in-house the last few years.
Appreciate the updates and obviously seeing some of the things we approved actually installed.
Yeah.
That was nice seeing them.
Yeah. Yeah. So more to come.
Oh, one other thing. I made a note and I forgot to ask it. I should say you, it's just you. Do you often just sort of do debriefs with the artists and the property owners to see how things went to improve your process?
We have before, more so with the artists themselves, especially if they're contracting with us, we want to know how their experience was. So we do that.
Thank you, Tara.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Turning over to the director.
Thank you. I have some updates for us this morning. The first is that I'd like to formally welcome our newest staff member in city planning. This is Abby Jakobski, and she is our new senior assistant city planner working in our zoning section. She started with us on Monday, so we're really glad to have her on board. A little bit of background about Abby. She's from Berea, a recent graduate of Cleveland State University, and is interested in housing and traffic calming, in addition to, I'm sure, a budding interest in the nuances of Cleveland's zoning policy. Also wanted to let you know that before our next Planning Commission meeting coming up on February 20th, we will be presenting to Council as part of the annual operational budget process. So our hearing is scheduled for Tuesday, February 17th. So we'll be sharing the highlights of the department's work over the last year and what we're looking forward to in 2026 in front of City Council. We also have a couple of logistical updates due to changes in ward boundaries and some efforts to keep neighborhoods as much together as possible. We have a little bit of an adjustment in our design review regions, specifically for the southeast and central east portions of the map. That's the yellow and green shown here. Moving forward, Kim Scott will be representing the Southeast District, which is in green. Kenya Gray will be stepping into the Central East Design Review region, which is the yellow one, under Kim's tutelage and mentorship. We have also shifted the timing of the Central East Design Review meetings to give a little bit more time between those Design Review Advisory Committee meetings and Planning Commission. Right now they're back to back. So we have Design Review happening the Thursday before we meet on Fridays, the Planning Commission. We're bumping those to the Thursday before the week of Planning Commission. So there's just a little bit more time for applicants to respond to design review comments, our staff to work on having the presentations compiled, the agendas created, et cetera. So moving forward, Kenya is here. Moving forward, Kenya will be working in the golden area, Kim Scott primarily in the green area. Kenya, do you want to say anything further about that?
Can't really plan on it, but nice to
No
meet
pressure.
everybody.
You don't have to.
I mean, I think I do need to say something though. I'm just looking forward to working in Midtown, Fairfax, Tough, Goodrich, Kirtland, Central Steel, Little Italy, and a little bit of Buckeye, I believe. There's a lot of projects going on, and I'm ready to get my hands dirty. So, yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Kenya.
There a quick
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
Do you have, this is for everybody, not just for your section. It would be nice to have this in print form for all the design review districts, especially like you said, in light of the ward changes. I know I would appreciate it.
Yeah, so the plan for the next couple of weeks is to update all of the website information, kind of send this out as a communication.
Okay.
To the public and to City Hall staff. Yeah, we're slowly kind of updating everything.
We can certainly get you hard copy resources as well.
Thank you.
Mhm. Also, in the vein of logistical updates, I already shared about the Central East Design Review Committee meetings, but as commission members know, based on our scheduling questions coming to you over the last couple of weeks, Friday, April 3rd, the first Friday of April falls on Good Friday, which is a holiday for the city of Cleveland. So we will be shifting the regularly scheduled planning commission from Friday morning to the day before on the morning of Thursday, April 2nd. So appreciate your flexibility with that. That really allows us to keep up the cadence and continue to move projects through without causing postponement, undue postponement due to the holiday. I think this is my final update, which is a follow-on to what I shared last time with you, the Building Brighter Futures initiative, which is looking at school building reuse at several key locations across the city, has announced the public meetings. These are really designed for residents and stakeholders to come and share comments, concerns, and questions with the city and the school district about their desired future use of these buildings and these facilities. We really want to hear from residents about what they want to see in these locations, 4 locations that will have a request for proposals put out. The community feedback will be directly documented within those for potential proposers to reflect on and incorporate into their proposals. So as you can see on the slide, there is a list of meetings, the first of which was yesterday, but going through the rest of the month around school building reuse at several facilities across the city.
Thank you, Director. Well, with that, we will adjourn the meeting. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you.